The top stories for the hour. International Solar Alliance recommends Africa to maximize production, productivity and export applying solar energy. And the school meal initiative is said to improve students' attentiveness and boosting attendance. Hello and very warm welcome to EBC World, the voice of Pan-Africanism with the news. I'm Binyam Gitana. Stick around, now the news and detail. Ethiopia mourns the loss of veteran artist Debebe Eshetu, who passed away at the age of 83 following treatment for an illness. Renowned for his extraordinary contributions to Ethiopian artists, Debebe Eshetu's career spanned decades across theater, radio, television, film and journalism. He was celebrated for his versatility as an actor, comedian and producer, captivating audiences with performances that ranged from thought-provoking dramas to light-hearted comedies. President Taye Asqassalassy has expressed heartfelt condolences on the passing of veteran Ethiopian artist Debebe Eshetu, describing him as a man of wisdom, truth and inspiration. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has expressed profound sorrow over the passing of veteran Ethiopian artist Debebe Eshetu. In a message shared on his social media platform, the Premier described the loss as deeply saddening and praised artist Debebe Eshetu for leaving a significant mark on the history of modern Ethiopian art. Likewise, Deputy Prime Minister Temesgen Turne has expressed his condolences on the passing of veteran Ethiopian artist Debebe Eshetu, highlighting the late artist's enduring service to Ethiopia and its people. Beyond his artistic endeavors, Debebe Eshetu was known for his charitable efforts and his dedication to uplifting society during challenging times. In other news, all leadership and members need to put in place more efforts to work with greater diligence and determination to ensure Ethiopia's overall prosperity, says Adam Farah, Vice President of the Prosperity Party. The Prosperity Party headquarters held a forum to review the performance of the current Ethiopian budget year and discuss the coming budget year plan. Adam Farah has stressed that this budget year, the entire party leadership and members have been working together relentlessly and have registered many remarkable success across sectors. He pointed out that major achievements recorded in the responsibilities carried out during the budget year, ensuring strategic cooperation and partnership and upholding the benefit of the country and also the public. The party highlighted the activities undertaken to benefit the people through development were effective, and the work done in terms of peace and stability has enabled relative peace to prevail at national level. Adam, who noted that the coming budget year is a special year, stressed that all leadership and members are expected to continue to work with greater dedication and commitment than the previous budget year to ensure the overall prosperity of Ethiopia.
በክረምት ከምንጮታቸው ጨዋታዎች በይ የቡዬ ገርፍ ግን ለየት ይላል የቡዬ ገርፍ ክረምት ሲመጣ ከምንወደው አንዱ ጨዋታ ነው ችቦን የምንፈልገው ሄደን ተጋርፈን ካሸነፍንም ከተሸነፍንም የምናበራው ነው ያው ኮያውዬ በፊት ችቦን ጋበራን በኋላ ወያውዬ እንላለን
ከበድ የሚል ግን ሰውነት እንኳን ቢጎል መካሰስ መዋቀስ የለም የፍቅር ነው
A very warm welcome once again. You're still watching EBC World. The news continues. Increased use of solar energy in Africa's agriculture sector can boost productivity and export, says the International Solar Alliance. Ethiopia can also scale up its coffee production and value chain using solar energy, the ICA's Director General indicated. Sintayo Tamrat reports.
Food security in Africa is a major challenge, with millions facing hunger and malnutrition. Multiple factors contributing to this include climate change, conflict, poverty, and inadequate infrastructure. Even though there are efforts of improvement, attaining sustainable food security requires increased investment. One such investment area is on solar energy, which should replace fossil fuel-driven irrigation water pumps. However, farmers in many countries over the continent still depend on fossil fuel water pumps, which are costly and environmentally unfriendly, according to the Director General of the International Solar Alliance.
There are countries in Africa which are still dependent on heavy fuel oil and diesel-based generation, not only for individual farmers in agriculture, but for the system as a whole, that cost as much as 25 US cents. And that is why the tariffs in Africa are one of the highest in most countries. So either people do not have power or they have very expensive power. Both need to be addressed. People need to be given power, and those who have power should make it more affordable and reliable. Solar can do that, looking at the example of India, because the solar prices now all over the world are, as I mentioned, 1/4 of fossil fuels.
The Director General suggested the development and use of solar energy in Africa's agri-sector to improve production and productivity as well as export.
If you have more irrigated area, in India on an average upwards of 80% of area that can be irrigated already has irrigation. If that figure is only 6 or 8% in Africa, imagine you have a potential for 8 times more area to be irrigated. And then it's not only about the amount of land that is now available for irrigation, it's also about productivity of that land. Where if you have solar-based pumping, you have cold storage, 30% of food often is wasted. Cold storage done right way can reduce the wastage of food products. It can also help agri-processing and agri-exports, because that can also increase.
Given that Ethiopia is one of the world's largest producer and exporter of coffee, there could be a boost in the sector if the country replaces fossil fuel irrigation water pumps with solar ones, he implied.
How we can help the coffee industry of Ethiopia, being the pride of Ethiopia, develop and use solar to reduce the cost by getting out of diesel, but also used other aspects to increase productivity. That, I think, is the nature of enhancing productivity through solar.
India, the world's third largest solar energy producer and user, has benefited a lot in the agri-sector, can I say.
India has now done more than 2 million solar pumps, because India is realizing that rather than farmers having diesel or having grid-connected electricity, that requires long transmission and distribution lines to take that power, it is much cheaper for farmers to get solar pumps in the different supply chains, whether you're a rice mill, whether you are in Injera, say in case of Ethiopia, or dairy. There are different applications that are coming. What is interesting is it's not only about solar, it is about an ecosystem. Ecosystem will require right financing product, because the banks in Ethiopia will need to feel comfortable in lending to farmers and those applications. You need people who are aware of how to do tendering of these solar products.
In August 2025, the Global Association for the Off-Grid Solar Energy Industry reported that effective collaboration between food systems and the off-grid solar sector is crucial for transforming agricultural productivity and uplifting the livelihoods of smallholder farmers who produce the majority of the food in sub-Saharan Africa.
That was Sintayo Tamrat for the report. Moving on another development, the school feeding program in Ethiopia aims to improve the health, education and development of school children, particularly those from low-income families. Director of the Ethiopian School Meal Initiative, Freyalem Shibabao, states that the school feeding program is marking a tangible impact by improving student attentiveness, increasing attendance and enhancing overall well-being. She also called on stakeholders to intensify their efforts as many children across the country still struggle with the hunger. Shagoy Matao has the details.
15 years ago, while running her private school, Freyalem Shibabao, now director of the Ethiopian School Meals Initiative, noticed a traveling pattern. Many children were coming to school with empty lunchboxes. Moved by the impact of hunger on a student's ability to learn, she conducted an assessment to understand the severity of the issue across multiple schools. The findings were clear and concerning, prompting her to advocate for a larger, more systemic intervention backed by strong policies and programs.
I kind of knew that, many people suffer from food in our country, but I didn't know it was that severe. It was that bad. So there was this little kid bringing an empty lunchbox to my school that we didn't know anything about. So after receiving this report just changed me. I became a different person.
It was moving.
Yeah, so it was like knowing the depth of the problem in our community. So I started studying how big is this problem? How many children do we have suffering from, not having, adequate lunch for their school, so adequate food in our household. So when I started doing a slight assessment, I found out it was bigger than I thought. That's why this needs a larger intervention.
As a result of this advocacy, the Ministry of Education drafted a national school feeding policy, which was officially endorsed in 2021. This strategic move formalized school feeding as a key part of the government's commitment to both education and nutrition. Reflecting on the progress made, Shibabao noticed that the school meals program is having a tangible impact, improving student attentiveness, boosting attendance, and enhancing overall well-being.
The minute you start school feeding program, the immediate change you see from the student side is they become very attentive. They don't become absent. They come to school every day. They become very aware and alert in the classroom. You see the health problem that it just goes away. The sickness, they get like coughing and some skin rashes and things like that immediately. Kids react so fast for food, especially if you give them the right food. So I am an eyewitness for the positive impact on school feeding programs in children, especially when the little ones come to school early age. So it's very crucial for our country, crucial for any country, I think.
The director emphasized the importance of this coordinated response in securing the future of the next generation and called on stakeholders to intensify their efforts as many children across the country still struggle with hunger.
Securing the future generation I think needs systemic response, you can't just let children just grow like that and expect the country to be okay. You have to make sure that they are secured. You have to make sure at least their health, mental health is secured. and so they can stay in school and they can be trained. The declaration that government said that I will make sure that in the next 5 years I will have food in every school, so that was a thrill to hear from me.
Yes.
Because still there are children out there who are struggling.
While Ethiopia's school meals program has made significant strides in improving children's health, education and overall quality of life through the provision of nutritious meals, it also faces challenges, particularly in the areas of funding, logistics, among others.
In our business segment, Ethiopia is emerging as a driver of regional integration by extending its renewable energy progress beyond its borders, exporting clean electricity to neighboring countries and fostering sustainable development across the Horn of Africa. According to the Ministry of Planning and Development, Ethiopia's vast hydropower, wind and geothermal resources are not only powering domestic growth but also strengthening regional cooperation through shared energy infrastructure. Mansour Desse, Lead Executive Officer for Environment and Climate Change Agreements and Strategic Partnership at the Ministry, said Ethiopia is leveraging international climate agreements and strategic partnerships to build a sustainable, interconnected regional power grid. Ethiopia's renewable energy drive is also anchored in its strong climate policy framework. The country is actively implementing its nationally determined contribution, which ran through 2030 and focus on cutting greenhouse gas emissions and boosting resilience to climate shocks. By exporting electricity, advancing renewable energy and implementing climate resilience strategies, Ethiopia is not only shaping its future but also laying the foundation for a more integrated and sustainable Africa. And now a recap of the top stories once again. International Solar Alliance recommends Africa to maximize production, productivity and export applying solar energy. And the school meal initiative is said to improve students' attentiveness and boosting attendance. Well, you've been watching ABC World, is the voice of Pan-Africanism from the capital Addis Ababa. Stick around with the rest of the program. Goodbye and enjoy.